convos collide. Authentic, unapologetic, no edits, no cap. Let the convo begin. No cap.
Welcome to the No Cap Sports Show podcast where sports and convos collide. I'm your host, the Cobra.
I'm your host, Mo Money.
What up, Mo?
Nothing much, big bro. Nothing much.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. See you rock the polo tonight. Like it.
Appreciate it, man. My daughter had a little recital tonight, so I had to catch that first.
Oh, yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yep.
Yeah.
Shout out to Coach Milton and his wife. Tonight is their anniversary, so you know they out moving and grooving a little bit as they should.
Yeah.
You know, so definitely want to salute them, give them a shout out, say congratulations, and wishing them many more anniversaries.
That's right.
And then also get well wishes to Cuzzo, old dog. You know, you're a little under the weather tonight, so but we gonna hold it down for them.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir. So let's get right into it, man. I want to recap the NFL, but before we get into that, I think we should discuss the New York Giants firing their head coach, Brian Daboll. The Giants are last in the NFC East. They're 2-8, and the Giants decided to go ahead and make that move and get rid of him. I think it was a bad move personally, but I want to get your thoughts first. What you think about the Giants going ahead and separating with the ball?
I think Brian Daboll might have been safe if he hadn't blown so many leads. In those games where they were up double digits against the Broncos and a couple other teams, if he had closed those deals, I think he would still have a job. Also, his divisional record was trash, and I understand he went through some transformations with quarterbacks, but we also have to remember Saquon Barkley won a championship with the Eagles last year. Looked like the best player in football. Daniel Jones is in the running for the Offensive Player of the Year. Both of those players were underneath his regime. You had Daniel Jones and you had Saquon Barkley, and he didn't do anything with them that next year after they went to the playoffs. So I think all of that played into the ownership's mind. I agree with you that maybe he should have been given another chance with Jackson Dart, but I think the owners just looked at it and was like, all right, well, I don't know what he's going to do because he's already had a prodigy in Daniel Jones. Like Daniel Jones had the recipes that he's showing in Indianapolis. He had that with the Giants as well. I just don't think they took full advantage of it.
Yeah, and I see what you're saying there, but this would be my pushback. Yeah, they had Daniel Jones, they had Saquon, but the team around them and the organization itself, for lack of a better word, was trash. You know what I mean? It was no way. I mean, for me, they were wasting Saquon's talent. I don't think we had an opportunity to really see what Daniel Jones really could do because of the talent around him and because of what that organization was about. I mean, you saw glimpses every now and again,
Right.
but we see organizations in the past where they have talented players that move on somewhere else where the organization has it together. They have pieces there already for them to just plug in and be successful. I mean, everybody. I mean, as soon as that move happened with Saquon going to Philly, everybody knew that was going to be a great spot for him. We knew what he was going to do, and we knew what type of success Philly would have because of having somebody like Saquon Barkley. He was the same Saquon Barkley that at the Giants, but it was an entirely different team. And the same with Daniel Jones. He's going somewhere where the Indianapolis Colts is known to be a great organization, is known to make sure they got pieces in place in order to be successful. The reason why I don't think Daboll should have been fired was, he started off with Russell Wilson, which, Russell Wilson, I think his time is over as an NFL quarterback, especially as a starting NFL quarterback. And I think he found a spark with his young quarterback in Jackson Dart, and then his rookie running back. What's that got injured? What's his name?
Scatterboo.
Scatterboo.
Yeah.
Even though they wasn't winning games, they brought an excitement level to New York Giants football to the point where somebody like myself wanted to see the Giants play because those two dudes were so exciting. I mean, Scatterboo, he's a crash dummy. He's running through people and not avoiding any contact. And then, he's playing with all that energy and toughness, something that you can get behind. And Jackson Dart, he got the swag, you know what I mean?
Right.
And he can throw the thing a little bit. He running, he get in the end zone. He do his little dances. Like it's something that you can get behind and cheer. So I'm looking at that. Okay, they got two young pieces, two rookies that's ready to look like they ready to move the organization forward. Now all we need now is to get the pieces around them, and you can see the next year or the next 2 years where the Giants can be a respectable team. They could be a force in the NFC East, at least challenge for the NFC East. So I just think, I just didn't understand firing him right now at this time when, he really don't have any guys out there. All of his guys are injured. I mean, his quarterback injured, running back injured, his best receiver injured. What is that guy supposed to do? Who are you going to bring in there that's going to fix that and make that team win? I just don't see it. And I know we've been hearing the Belichick rumors now. And I don't think he's the answer either. But so what you think? Who is there anybody that pops in your head right now that you say, okay, you can plug them in to the Giants organization and they'll be a good head coach, a good leader to move that organization forward?
No one comes to mind like, well, you know what? There's two guys, believe it or not, and I hate using the retreads, but there's two coaches out there that have a proven track record with young quarterbacks, and that's Mike McCarthy, and that's also Bruce Arians. They've both taken. I don't know about Bruce Arians' health, but in the past they've both taken young quarterbacks, molded the offensive system. They're bridge coaches, what I like to call them. Bruce Arians more of a proven product than Mike McCarthy. I know he's won a Super Bowl, but he's a guy that can come in and galvanize and help your organization get to the next step so that you can find that Bill Belichick or whatever the case may be. I would love to see the coach from Minnesota get another shot on defensive coordinator. Brian Flores, that's his name.
Yeah.
I'd love to see Flores get another shot, but at the same time, I don't know if he's right for this team. I think with the offensive talents they have, they need somebody that can come in and mold them offensively. I don't think Brian Flores has that. He would have to get the right type of staff. But also, you got to look at the offense coordinator in Washington. I think he got a raw deal. What's his name? Man, I can't think of his name right now. He used to be Kyler Murray's coach, Cliff Kingsbury. He's another offensive genius. And you look at Kyler Murray's career, it's gone down ever since Cliff Kingsbury left. So those are a couple names that I could think of off the top of my head. But I'll say one last thing about the Brian Daboll thing. I think it's an instance where, like you said it best, the old regime, they weren't great. That's why the GM's no longer there. That GM brought the Brian Daboll in. So maybe the new GM and Brian Daboll didn't share the same vision for the future. Because under that new GM, there's no way that he's supporting Brian Daboll 100% when you take two defensive ends in the first round and your coach is an offensive coach, your offensive line is in shambles, and you need another wide receiver to complement Malik Neighbors. So I just think from an organizational standpoint, I think it may have been frayed, and that's probably why he got fired.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. But it's just, I think it's a trickle down effect from, like you said, the old regime making poor decision after another. And now you're seeing that this current coaching staff, taking a fall for those
Yep.
bad decisions that was made last year, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, and Brian was it Doball?
Yeah.
He's taking the brunt of that hit. But well, I mean, we'll see. We'll see what this new GM is going to do. Um, we'll see what type of players they drive, see what they can do in free agency and all of that good stuff. But I just don't see this organization turning the corner anytime soon.
Me either. You said it best. Whenever you don't have a marriage between the organization, the head coach, the quarterback, it's gonna be tough to turn that thing around. I mean, you can look at Miami right now, and Mike McDaniels is probably gonna get fired because he married himself to Tua. So
Yeah.
that head coach, quarterback relationship, it has to be symbiotic. It has to be great. You can look at John Harbaugh and Jim Harbaugh and John Harbaugh. Whenever they have franchise quarterbacks, they look like great coaches, right? But when
Mhm.
they don't, it just is what it is, you know. They were talking about firing Harbaugh while Lamar Jackson was hurt. Now Lamar Jackson back, they're like, oh, he's a genius again.
Yeah, yeah. I I heard somebody. I can't remember what show I was watching, or maybe it was somebody's podcast where they were saying that uh, Lamar saved his job years ago. Before,
He did.
so I mean, I like Harbaugh. I think he's a player's coach. I like the energy he brings in the locker room. It seems like all of his players truly like him, and I think he's genuine in terms of the way he feels about his team. Um, I just think the coach. I don't know if it's Harbaugh or I don't know if it's Monken, but I just think offensively, if you got this juggernaut on offense, right? Now you got weapons. You got weapons at receiver. You got weapons at running back. You got weapons at the tight end, and we all know that's where their strength is on the offense. But they play so conservative, man.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man, unleash that beast, man. Especially if they get a lead in the third quarter, the play calling is awful. Like, put your foot on their neck and run up the score because it's no reason why that team shouldn't score 40 points every game.
I agree, especially when you have someone with Lamar Jackson's skill set and talent. You can't leave a light box or not have a spy, so that takes one defender out of coverage. I think it's just a case where a few years ago, or not even a few years ago, a while back, Pittsburgh had the same issue, right? With Ben Roethlisberger, Antonio Brown, Wallace. I forget the tight end's name, but it was clear to see that they needed to transition the organization to a passing offense. And they
Mm-hmm.
kept trying to hit their head on the wall and run the ball. Sometimes when you got these historic franchises like the Ravens, like the Steelers, that are known for defense and running the ball, it's tough for them organizationally sometimes to turn the page.
Yeah, that's exactly Baltimore's problem. They still think the Ray Lewis led Baltimore defense where they
Right.
can just score couple touchdowns and let the defense handle the rest. That's not their position right now. Even though the defense last 3-4 weeks has really come alive, um, getting some forcing some turnovers, keeping the score down. I think the first how many games they played 9 games. So I think the first 5 weeks they was giving up 35 points a game. But the last 4 weeks they only been giving up 14 points a game. So, that's a big turnaround. And they got a lot of number one draft picks over there on the defensive end. I just think they needed time to kind of mesh because they had some young guys mixed with some veteran guys. So just get that camaraderie and because if they didn't, that defensive coordinator, he on this he on thin ice. Like I mean, even if they don't make the playoffs this year, I think he won't be there next season.
Well, the same way that we were talking about Dayball and not being completely fair, I feel
Mhm.
like two defensive coordinators this year that have gotten a bad rap is the Baltimore Ravens defensive coordinator and the Dallas Cowboys defensive coordinator. And I'll explain why. Because when
Mhm.
you got 7 of 11 starters hurt, I don't care who's the defensive coordinator. After a
Yeah,
while, I remember watching one Ravens game. They were like, man, they're on that fourth corner. I was like,
yeah, yeah,
man, when
yeah.
you on your fourth corner, what defensive coverage you want me to run for this guy that's not supposed to be on the team?
Right, right. But I think the hot water comes from last season because he started the
Hmm,
season off the same, completely healthy.
that's
And
right.
then they got it together, somewhere towards mid-season. But
Right.
luckily the offense was healthy and they was carrying that team and making sure they kept getting wins week after week. But when you look at it this season, now you got your offense that's not completely healthy for many weeks. And they got um your old backup quarterback. He's
Woo.
awful.
That's why
Uh,
we let him go.
yeah, so you got him. I didn't even know we had Huntley back in the locker room. I'm like, Huntley should have been starting from day one when Lamar Jackson went down because we have a sample size of Huntley being successful as a backup quarterback in Baltimore. You can run the same play sets because he can run the same thing Lamar run, and he's going to keep you in the game. He's going to keep you competitive, and he's won some games. Shit, he made a
Right.
Pro Bowl 3-4 years ago when
He
Lamar
did.
was when Lamar was out there and he took them to the playoffs. I think they lost to the Bengals by 1 point in the wild card game. So I mean, so they wasted 2 or 3 games messing with that guy,
That's right.
and you know what I mean. So I just I don't get it, but it looked like they turned the corner now. Look, they taking it one game at a time. I think the Ravens have a very good chance of winning the AFC North. They're only a game behind the Steelers now,
Yeah.
and their schedule is favorable. And the Steelers got a rough schedule moving
Yeah.
ahead. Um, so if they stay focused, and that AFC North could be tricky, even when you play the Browns and the Bengals. Those games still could go either way, just because those teams so familiar with each other.
Right.
And then from what I'm hearing, Cincinnati is getting Joe Burrow back by the time they play Baltimore that first game. So, it's not a cakewalk, but at the same time, I still think the schedule, the way it's set up, and the way that they're playing now on both the offense and defensive end, um, I think they can go ahead and get it done.
Oh, for sure. I definitely wouldn't count it. Well, for one, when you have an NFL quarterback the caliber of Lamar Jackson, that's what made me so frustrated a few years ago because I
I
didn't want
remember.
him to I didn't want him to get labeled as this guy that can't that can't read the defense, that can't be a quarterback, and he's just a runner. And I felt like at that time Baltimore was pigeonholing him into that category. And I don't
Yeah,
think they were taking his talent serious because y'all wide receiving core a few years ago was trash. Now
yeah,
they've surrounded him with better weapons now. Obviously, they went out and got D Hopkins, Flowers. He's got 2 tight ends. It's a totally different offense.
yeah.
Now the coordinator, like you said earlier, that's a different story. But no, whenever you got Lamar Jackson back there, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, you can never count out those teams. That's like having a young Aaron Rodgers back in his prime.
Hmm. Yeah.
So Lamar gonna keep you in the games. Like you said, your problem is gonna be, can you stop the run? Can
Hmm.
you generate enough pass rush in some of these games where if Lamar is off just a little bit, the score doesn't get out of hand? And
Right.
that's gonna be Baltimore's challenge going forward, especially with NBK being gone, is can we stop the run consistently?
Yeah, yeah, and I agree. And then I just hope Monken just sees that. I think he believes that Lamar goes as Henry goes, but it's actually the opposite.
Yeah.
Henry goes as Lamar go. Like Lamar brings a lot. He opens up a lot of lanes for Derrick Henry. So like a lot of those first and second down plays or whatever the case may be, if you make those passing plays and then second down, third down, you put it in Derrick Henry's stomach and let him run, it's gonna be a lane wide open because the defense have that count for Lamar. because I mean he's throwing it all over the field, but we all know that he's still a 4-3 um, runner, and he can hurt you. You know, he can get a first down or he can take it to the house. So those two together, but he got to understand that Lamar is the one that opens it up for Henry, and so you got to start with your best player on the team and let him open it up for all the players around him.
Absolutely. And also you got to understand that Derrick Henry is 30 years old. He's not a four quarterback anymore. He can give it to
Yeah.
you maybe in the first, maybe in the fourth, but it's 2 quarters where Derrick Henry he's lost a step, and it's expected. All
Mm-hmm.
great running backs do it. So he's either got to use Mitchell more often and switch it up, or like you said, he's got to use the pass to set up the run. It doesn't have to be the way around. And in today's game, by doing it the way he's doing it, he's actually favoring the defense. He's making the defense super lazy because, like we were talking about earlier, when you got those 8 guys in the box because Baltimore isn't taking enough shots, it doesn't open up lanes for Lamar Jackson, to
Mm-hmm.
run the ball because there's so many defenders in the box.
Facts, facts. What other games that caught your eye over the weekend that maybe surprised you, disappointed you, or you was like, oh, this was a hell of a game?
I'm gonna tell you, man, the Monday night game. Um, I hear what people keep saying about Jordan Love, and I get it. Defense struggles happen all the time. Man, the Eagles' defense ain't that good. They're not that good to hold you to 7 points in 4 quarters. They're not. They're just not that good.
Yeah, because they
Um,
lost a lot of people on the defensive side since from
yes,
last year. Yes.
yes, they have, and what it is it's I understand Jordan Love was missing some pieces out there, but it goes back to what you were saying earlier. The offensive coordinator has to recognize that we do have a mismatch out there. They had a mismatch in the secondary. So Quinyon Mitchell is a bona fide dude. He's a dog. Anything opposite him is questionable. And the Eagles been getting target on that all year long. Also,
Mm-hmm.
you know for a fact you got to move the pocket against the Eagles because they got 2 All-Pro defensive tackles. So I was just disappointed between Green Bay's offense coordinator and Jordan Love not really seeing the field, at least from what I saw in my eyes. Um, Let me see another game that kind of shocked me a little bit was I'll be honest, for all the applause and all the appeal that Dan Quinn got as an offensive coordinator, and now I'm taking a shot at these Commanders. That defense is straight trash. I mean, I know the Detroit Lions are explosive, but man, they don't have a pass rush. They can't stop the run. I don't understand it. And I watched that game pretty much from the beginning to the end, and that defense is terrible. And the offense actually didn't play that bad, but the
Mm-hmm.
defense was terrible. It was horrendous.
Yeah, see, they demoted their defensive coordinator, and Dan Quinn is going to be taking over the defensive play caller.
Maybe that might help, but I think what happened with the Commanders, in my opinion, it's not the scheme, it's the personnel. In the offseason, instead of trading for Debo Samuels, they should have went out there and tried to trade for a young linebacker. And then I don't know what tape they looked at for Marshawn Lattimore because the Saints knew he was washed up, even though he didn't play last weekend. They fell for it, and he's been trash all year long.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if changing defensive coordinators is gonna matter. Your time to fix that and adjust that was in the offseason. They just don't have the personnel.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Um, but luckily they did get Debo because he's been the bright spot on their offense since week one. And then with Terry McLaurin not, being injured and you not knowing if he's coming back, he's been the shining star on that offense. Like without
Well,
him, I don't know what that offense would look like.
somebody got to get the ball. You know what I'm saying? So somebody, But at the end of the day, to me, and Old Dog said this summer, it was either Old Dog or Coach. I got to give one of them credit. That it
Mm-hmm.
was their original thought. They said you playing with the house's money when you don't pay Terry McLaurin because all these wide receivers, skill position players have histories of hamstrings, quads, groins, all that when you don't come into training camp because you cannot simulate live action in any sport without playing the games or getting out there in training camp. You can't train that kind of pressure. And that's
Yeah,
what's happening to him. He's not the first, he won't be the last. You know,
yeah,
they should have paid him. What's the difference in paying him in August than paying him in March or April?
right.
You messed up your chemistry with your young quarterback. You
Yeah.
know, and I'm far from a Commanders fan, but I mean I saw it from a mile away
Mm-hmm.
because what happened is they fell in love with Jaden Daniels' talent and they put too much on him and they didn't surround him with enough talent. I mean, you got a seventh round running back out there as your starting running back. That was your savior, man. You could have went in the draft and got anybody, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And then as far as wide receivers, I do like Debo Samuel, but I'm gonna tell you the God honest truth. I said it this summer. He stunts a young quarterback's growth. The reason being, all you doing is running 5 yard hitches. You running screens, you running drags because he can't run routes. You want that young quarterback to have to, go through the progressions with a Emeka Ibuka or a Zay Flowers type of wide receiver that actually get in and out of their cuts. You want them to develop that type of chemistry. I understand you got Terry on one side, but the reason why Terry had to work so hard and blew his hamstring out, because no defenses is respecting Debo. They know he can't run routes like that. Most of his stuff come from 5 yard catch and then Debo's Debo. But it ain't like he
Yeah.
getting down the field and making anything happen.
Yeah, 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 you're right. A lot of his yards come from yards after the catch. So he might catch a 3, 4, 5 yard pass and take it 15, 20 yards or whatever the case may be. But he's not getting down the field. He's not running the route tree, all that good stuff. You're right about that. But that's enough talk about those bums. I feel
You right. You right.
I feel horrible talking about them.
I got 44 reasons to not talk about them.
Right. um, are you concerned with the Bills? I mean, they took a bad loss to the Dolphins on Sunday. I don't think anybody was expecting them to lose that game, but they didn't only lose; they got their ass whooped.
So the thing about it, and I've been saying this since no cap been no cap. Anytime you got a divisional opponent, it can happen. It's a team you play twice a year, every year. They know more about Josh Allen than Josh Allen knows about Josh Allen. They
Mm-hmm.
because they gotta study him. Everything that the Dolphins did in the offseason was geared towards beating the Buffalo Bills. So it's never a shock to me whenever you see a team in the division beat the top dog in the division. Because you got to
Mm-hmm.
think everything Miami does, the draft, the way they call their plays, they scheme, they know everything goes through Buffalo. So no, I'm
Yeah.
I'm I'm not really concerned. I would have been more concerned if the Miami Dolphins were an NFC North team and they were a bottom feeder. They didn't have that intel.
Mm-hmm.
I would have been concerned. But no, not a divisional foe. That can happen. Unfortunately, you don't want it to, but it can. And then I looked at a little bit of that game. It just looked like Buffalo was kind of out of sorts.
Mm-hmm.
Penalties, drop passes, fumbles, things of that nature. And then, when you got a weapon like Jalen Waddle and Devon A. Chain, I don't care what defense it is. If you got one missed tackle, they out the gate. And that's what happened to Buffalo twice. I think it was a 45-yard pass to Waddle, and then it was a
Mm-hmm.
50-yard run by Devon A. Chain. So no, I'm not too concerned. We'll see what Buffalo does this week.
Okay. I would say the game of the week was probably that Sunday morning game.
Hmm.
Who was it? It was the Colts and the Falcons.
Yeah.
The Falcons had that game. They probably should have won it. Hey, sorry if my OG Lee watching this. I'm sorry, man. Your ATLians, man. They wet the bed again. But you know that old saying where bad teams find a way to lose and good teams find a way to win. I just saw it's one of those things, and they go in overtime and Coach made the big play, score the touchdown, and get the victory. But that was a hell of a game from beginning to end.
It was, man, and for all the West Coast Mountain Time folks, man, that game came on 6:30, 7:30 in the morning. And it definitely was a great game. It was worth it. To your point, it just seems like to me the Falcons never learn from their past mistakes. Instead of running the ball, they turned away from the run, and they tried to throw their way back and throw their way into this game. And Tyler Algier was running. He was getting 4 to 5 yards a carry. And
Mhm.
instead of running him and Bijan Robinson, you kept
Yeah,
putting the ball in Michael Penix's hand, and that's what led the Colts back into the game.
yeah, facts. Switching those speeds a little bit to the NBA with some big news, some breaking news on the NBA side, in terms of the Dallas Mavericks and their GM Nico Harrison getting fired. Now we've been talking about this for a minute since that trade happened last season with Luka Doncic going over to the Lakers and Mavericks getting AD and the other kid, I can't remember his name, but the shooting guard,
Christian, Max
Chris.
Christian.
Yep. I think Nico is getting a bad rap here. I think he's definitely the fall guy. I don't think Nico made that call. I don't think he made that trade, but everybody is booing him, fire Nico. You know, Luka's mad at Nico, staring him down during games and all that stuff. But if anybody knows anything about the business of the National Basketball Association, a GM, a coach, whoever cannot get rid of your franchise player without the owner saying, let's get rid of him. That
Yeah.
I believe that decision came down from Patrick Dumont, the owner, and Nico Harrison. Just he has to be the face of the trade, and any backlash that came from it, he has to take it on the chin. Sit in the game, sit at the games, hear the boos, hear everybody, trash him and all that good stuff. Because this is why I think that, because Nico Harrison been around the game too long, and he's been around some great basketball minds over the years. He's been around Rob Pelinka, you know what I mean. He's been around some great guys that make great basketball decisions. So he knows what's a good trade and a bad trade. He know not to get rid of a generational talent like Luka Doncic. I don't think he would ever have made that trade if he wasn't forced to. Well, what's your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, at this point, what does Nico have to lose to not come out and say that? Like you have to save your reputation at this point. But at the time, he kind of doubled down on it. I think what got Dallas in trouble with that trade, and we said it when it happened. You're trying to sell basketball enthusiasts and fans something that wasn't there. You were talking about Luka Doncic's conditioning, his love of the game. The reason why you got rid of him was kind of asinine, as much as it was just getting rid of him. If they would have
Because,
just came out and
because
said,
it came, because it came from a suit up top
yep,
who's never done anything in terms of basketball as a player, as a
right,
coach, nothing. He did it purely off of analytics, off of financial stuff, and made a case that, hey, oh yeah, and on top of that, he's out of shape. That's why he keeps getting hurt. We need to get rid of him now. Nico, do your job, get rid of him. And the reason why he's doubling down, the reason why he's not saying, hey, look, I'm fired now. Look, it was this dude who told me to do it, is because he got paid to do that.
yeah, that's true.
He got
That's
he
true.
he got paid to do. He got paid to take the punches from that trade. And then also, if Nico started talking now and spilling the beans on everything that took place, he's not getting hired as another GM from another organization, because that owner gonna look at him and say, "Oh, he don't know how to play ball. We need you to be a good old boy. Do what you're told. You got paid for it. That was your job. now there may be an opportunity for you to slide into another organization and run that organization as a GM.
That's all great points, Coach. I never looked at it like that. But I think we missing the point here, man. Hey, I don't know who call it was. I'm just glad Rob Pelinka answered the phone. Thank you, Dallas. I appreciate you. Cause I love watching me some Luka in that purple and go. I'm trying to tell you. Appreciate you. I was worried, man. I was like, man, what we gonna do when LeBron leave? I ain't
Yeah.
gotta worry about it.
You ain't got to worry about it at all. And in defense of the Mavericks, they got $100 million sitting on the bench between Kyrie and Anthony Davis. You got two superstar players that's not even available, and you putting all the weight on the back of a rookie who's still trying to figure it out, find his way. So of course you're gonna be last place in your division or in the West, because you still trying to figure. You don't have that guy. You know what I mean?
Yep.
You don't have that leader. You don't have that superstar player. You're putting all your eggs in one basket, and that basket is a rookie basket. So you can't. I mean, you can't expect them to be in the top of the standings. With the roster that they have, they got a rookie that has potential to be really good. Then you got a bunch of role players.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're not. Yeah.
Role players that were suited to play with Luka.
That was suited to play with Luka. Absolutely.
Yeah,
But
they're not
back to
Cooper
the
Flag guys.
yeah. You're right about that. But back to the Lakers. Right now with their 8-3, I think they play tonight, right?
Yeah, they about to play
OKC tonight.
Thunder. Yep, they about to play Thunder.
So they're 8-3. They looking pretty. You got Luka averaging down near 40. You got Reeves averaging 30. The team looks pretty good. They're running up and down. Offense look good. I still think they weak defensively, but offense look really good. They scoring a lot of points. It's moving. And there's a lot of talk about, okay, LeBron should be back in the next week or two, couple weeks. What does he do? Should the Lakers move on from LeBron? Does LeBron have to humble himself and, hey, look, I just got to find a spot where I fit in and be like the third option, fourth option? Do you think the way the Lakers playing now is sustainable, especially when you start playing against the top teams in the West?
I think we'll get some of those answers tonight. But the same thing that we was talking about with Luka Doncic before, he makes up for a lot of. He puts deodorant on a lot of the Lakers, deficiencies because of how prolific of a scorer he is and how much attention you have to put on him. So I think certain aspects of what the Lakers are doing is sustainable because it's not just some run-of-the-mill guy that's doing this. Luka has a track record. I'm not saying averaging 40. Maybe he regresses to the means and average about 32, 35. I believe Austin Reeves is the guy that can get you anywhere between 20 to 25 a night because he's just that efficient of a scorer. I think that's what impresses me the most is when you watch the game, it's not forced. Every now and then Luka will take a questionable shot, but when you the type of scorer he is, he can make it. I think what people are missing with the Lakers is not Luka and Austin Reeves. I think they're proven. It's what DeAndre Ayton is giving you in the middle with his consistent double doubles. Jake LaRavia averaging almost 40% from three. Those are and he's a career 35% 3-point shooter. So, Rob Pelinka just, made another move. Then you got Marcus Smart, who doesn't need to score at all. He coming in there and doing what he's supposed to do, which is play defense, be an irritant. Jared Vanderbilt is healthy this year. So he's able to come in and play defense. When you have those type of scorers, those guys scoring is irrelevant. They have an actual role. So I think it is somewhat sustainable. And when LeBron comes back, LeBron's got to be a man of his word on this one. The whole time Anthony Davis was there, what he kept saying, I want to fall back. I know I'm getting older. I want to be the second fiddle. Well, he's got to show it now.
He's been saying that since his second stint in Cleveland. He's been trying to give away the keys for years.
Well,
but
somebody ready to drive.
Has actually been able to take the keys, put it in ignition, and put it in drive. You know, so I mean, there you got somebody who shit. Not only can he take the key, he got his own fucking whip. You know, he
he,
got his own
he
car.
he does, and it's gonna be abundantly clear to us as fans of the game if LeBron is not playing ball. You know what you well LeBron is more than capable of doing. He's a basketball savant. He know what he need to do. He know
Yeah,
he need to get off the ball, cut, run some screen, run some pick and roll. I don't think anybody's talking about that. With
yeah,
LeBron and Luca in that 4-1 pick and roll, what that looks like. He did it with Austin Reeves a while ago. That
yep,
4-1. It's I won't say it's unstoppable, but it got a 99% chance of working. Because what you gonna do?
yeah,
You
yeah,
know, that's like KD running a 4-1 or 4-2 pick and roll. It's almost unstoppable, especially when you have a big like Aiton that can actually shoot a three and respectable from three. So when you're running
mhm.
that 4-1, everything is spread. You got two passes. So yeah, I believe if LeBron is bought in on the defensive end, I believe it can work. He he got
that,
he
that
got to
that's
he got
go,
to
that's
he
going
got
to
to
be a
play
challenge.
defense.
I think LeBron he's always bought into the defensive end, but now you're talking about a 41-year-old man. You 4 quarters of defense is just not realistic for somebody like LeBron, and we've seen it in the last couple seasons where LeBron will lock up defensively, but it's in spurts. Like he'll do it like important fourth quarter, last
Yeah,
5 minutes or so, like that. When you really need him to lock down, he will. But there's gaps and moments throughout the course of a game where he bullshitting on D. He gonna rest. He gonna chill. He gonna do what he do. But so you gotta you gotta understand that's what's gonna happen. And it's kind of like because Reeves really ain't stopping nobody. You know what I mean? And
no,
Luka not stopping nobody. So like with those three being on the court at the same time, you may only have two like really solid defenders out there on the court. You may have Smart out there, or Aiton can play a little defense down low.
Vanderbilt.
Vanderbilt, but see a lot of those defensive specialists that the Lakers have, when those guys are out on the court, they're going to be on the bench. So I think JJ Redick has a challenge ahead of him to see how he can play those guys and plug them in at the right time to where he doesn't sacrifice offense, but at the same time make sure the defense is holding strong.
Well, you said it best. Is LeBron willing to make that sacrifice? You know, obviously he should be the starter. There's no way in hell you would ever start Jared Vanderbilt over LeBron. However, when that first time out is made, it depends on the matchup. A LeBron conversation has to be had. Like, hey man, tonight I need you in the second half. So I'm gonna space your minutes in the first half, and I'm gonna let Jared Vanderbilt just harass the hell out of this four tonight. And LeBron has to be mature enough to handle that. Because if you look at it right now, where I think the Lakers are suffering, obviously, is when uh, Austin Reeves and Luca go to the bench. That's prime time to put LeBron in there, put him in back into his natural, 4-1 type of deal where he's handling the ball, the offense is running through him, and he can get his 10 to 15 or shoot some nights even 20 points in the non-Luca Austin Reeves minutes. So, like you said, JJ Redick has a very, very tough job ahead of him to get LeBron to buy into that role. But if he does, and what you were talking about on the defensive end, that's what I meant. I'm not expecting LeBron to play 4 quarters. I just need him when it's crunch time to be all the way bought in like he has been and continue to do that. I think the Lakers will be okay. I believe, I'm telling you right now, I'm not just saying this because I'm a Lakers fan. I believe the Lakers can win a championship this year because of Luka Doncic. I believe he is that special and he has enough role players around him. They get another five in there, and it's over. It is a wrap. If they get just one more five, I don't know where they're gonna get them from. Maybe it's Robert Williams. I don't know, but the Lakers are definitely a serious threat in the West. They were third seed last year. I think people forget that. You know, when
Yeah,
Luca came
yeah.
over, they were hot.
Yeah. I think they absolutely can compete for the Western Conference title and make a finals run. And I don't have any concern about when LeBron comes back how that offense going to look, because to me, I saw enough last year how Luka and LeBron played together and they complemented each other well. And then both of them, to me, sacrificed at times when okay,
Right.
Luka got it going. Let me make some backdoor cuts. Let me screen for him and roll to the basket. And then there was times when LeBron, took over a game and Luka say, okay, let me stand over here. When LeBron need me, I'm ready. You know what I'm saying? So I think both of them are high IQ offensive players. So I think they'll be fine. And Austin Reeves, I think he's used to his role. Austin Reeves always been a bucket. Yeah, of
Yeah.
course he's scoring at a higher rate now, but he's always been a bucket. So he'll find a way to do what he do anyway. So I don't think LeBron coming back is going to take away from him. Sure, his scoring might go down, but
Right.
the impact of the scoring he'll do will still be the same. You know what I mean?
That's
Because
right.
you bring in somebody else that's going to average 20 plus. LeBron is going to average 20 plus. You can't stop him from scoring 20 plus. And you got to remember, majority of the game, he's going to be playing that power forward role, not point guard, not small
No.
forward. He's going to be power forward. He's going to screen, roll to the basket. Luka Doncic going to find him. He's going to get easy buckets, easy layups. He's going to run the floor like he always do. He always find energy to run the floor in the fast breaks. Get his
Right.
dunks and his layups and stuff like that. So I think they'll be fine. I think they're a dangerous team. When LeBron get back into all these people out here talking about they need to trade him or he needs to sit the bench, you guys are foolish. You are nuts. You you're off your rocker, because the Los Angeles Lakers will not go deep into the playoffs or compete for a title if they don't have LeBron James. That's
What What's asinine to me, Kobe, is you have these pundits, right? They pick and choose who they root for, who they, get behind.
mm-hmm,
Because these same pundits won't, yeah, they won't say anything about Draymond Green or Klay Thompson.
mm-hmm.
Klay Thompson is damn near unplayable on the defensive end at this point in his career.
He
And if
looking
and
up
if
playing
I'm
on the offensive end this year.
you know what I'm saying? So if I'm not sitting him, why in the hell would I sit LeBron? If nothing else,
You
LeBron is
said
still 6'8", 240, can get you a double-double. Even if he
he
don't
was
give you 20.
he was just second team on NBA as a 40-year-old. What are we talking about right now?
Yeah, we're not talking about LeBron being the initiator, the facilitator, and him and AD running pick and rolls. We're talking about LeBron being the third option some nights, second option most nights. And so
Yeah,
I just don't get it. If you go down the list of fours in the Western Conference, I guarantee you have LeBron in the top 10 easily. Why
yeah,
would you put that on the bench?
yeah, yeah. Yeah, that I don't even want to discuss this no more because it's foolish. It's stupid. I mean, and I'm hearing it all over the place. Like people talking about, yeah, LeBron gonna be in the way. This team is better off without him. No, they're not.
No.
Everybody's always a victim of the moment. Nobody looks at the big picture. Nobody looks down the road. How that team is going to look and the pieces they need to get over the hump. They looking at, oh man, the Lakers 8-3 right now. Reeves 30. He had 51 one game, and Luka averaging 40. That's all they need. They good because they playing free. They don't. LeBron now holding them back. Come on, bro, man. Come on, man. LeBron gonna come in. These guys gonna be playing playoff style basketball when he come back. And those guys are too smart and too great of players not to make it work. And JJ Redick, I think he's a hell of a coach. I didn't know how good of a coach he was going to be when he got that job, because everybody say that was LeBron's hire. But JJ Redick is a hell of a coach.
Well, the thing about LeBron James is people gotta understand something. Yeah, that might be his boy, but Maverick Carter is boy. He wasn't advocating for him to be the Lakers coach. He saw
Right.
something in JJ Redick from a basketball standpoint that made him a savant. Not
Mhm.
not all of the moves that LeBron has suggested have worked out, but if you look at them, they should have.
Yeah.
Russell Westbrook should have worked. You understand
Yep.
what I mean? But
Yep.
it just ego didn't allow it to. Anybody with two eyes could see that JJ Redick, from the time he played at Duke and throughout his career, understood basketball. It was
Yeah.
just the leadership aspect of it. I think that's what we were, missing, was how was he gonna get people to buy into him being a coach? But
Yeah.
it works because I think as we get older, we forget a lot of these players look up to JJ Redick. So
Mm-hmm.
it definitely worked. Now, if it was a team full of LeBrons, that might have been tough because he played in that era. But as they get younger and younger, JJ Redick will be even better coach because that buy-in will just naturally happen.
Yeah. And JJ Redick was Luka Doncic's vet at one point briefly.
Whew. Yes, he
Yeah.
was. I mean,
Yeah.
at Duke, JJ Redick was must see TV. He definitely was must see TV.
Yeah. I've
A
been watching.
walking bucket.
Yes, sir. I've been watching him play since high school because he's a Virginia boy. So he's been lighting it up for a very long time. He knows the game, and he played under Coach K. He played under some great coaches. So he's taken all of those teachings and brought it with him
Right.
to the Lakers. And then we saw his mind when they did the little podcast, when he was breaking down plays. I would have did this in this situation. So we already know he's a smart guy, knows his basketball. So I'm looking forward to see what the Lakers gonna do.
Yeah, I am too. But I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if the Thunder win by 10 because you are missing LeBron James. You understand what I mean? This is the regular season. You missing LeBron. Luka can go out there give you 40. Austin Reeves can give you 30. That's 70. Where if the Thunder are healthy and they have all their components, they could put up 110 easily. With Shea
Yeah,
Gilgeous-Alexander. So they may still lose, but I want to see a competitive game to where it's close enough to where I can say, all right, if you inject LeBron in there with 15 to 20 points, then it
that's
may
gonna
be
be
a
showed
different
up.
game. Right.
Yeah. Uh, other news in the basketball world, man. What's up with your guy Stephen A. Smith? I mean, he got beef with everybody, man. Everybody wants to smoke with this dude. I just think, I know his job is for him to talk. You know what I mean? But sometimes you just want Stephen A. to just shut the hell up. I mean, because some of the stuff that comes out of his mouth, you just look at him like, man, what the hell are you talking about? He's criticizing politicians. He's coloring all outside the line, outside the lines, man. He's getting in the lanes that doesn't have anything to do with him, that he really doesn't have any pure knowledge of. But he want to criticize this person. Now he's in the beef with Michelle Beadle, and he's in the beef with Carrie Champion. And a year later, he's still going on podcasts talking about LeBron James. Like, come on, bro, man. Like, when is it going to stop? Like, all these people can't be wrong about you, man. I just, I have more respect for Jason Whitlock than I do Stephen A. Smith. And I say that because Jason Whitlock wear it on his chest.
Yeah.
We know who he is. We know what he's about. We don't like Whitlock. We don't like his takes. But he stands 10 toes down on who he is and what he believes. Stephen A. tries to make you believe he's something that he's not. So to me, he's a wolf in sheep's clothing. Like, oh yeah, he's down with the culture, and I'm pro-black and all this stuff. But really, he's just a puppet for his bosses. He does whatever his bosses tell him to do. He talks about what his bosses want him to talk about, and that's what I see him as. I think he's passive aggressive. I think he takes shots at people, and then all of a sudden he plays the victim.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, and that's what I don't like about him. And he's talking about all the stuff he did for Carrie Champion, and and how he never spoke out against her and stuff like that. But they say, look, we've heard things that you said about us, either on air or behind the scenes, and it's got back to them, and he's calling them a liar. But when he does the same thing, he says, well, LeBron never said anything publicly about me. He doesn't go in interviews and everything, but behind the scenes, I heard stuff he said about me, and it's gotten back to me. So now we supposed to believe him that he's getting this behind the scenes information, but he want to call them girls liars about stuff that he's saying behind the scenes that's getting back to them. Come on, man. Make it make sense, Mo.
I don't even really watch ESPN or Sports Center like that anymore because it's turned into as the world turns. There was a
Yeah.
time when those they had real analysts on there and they provided in-depth insight. Back in the day when you had a guy like Chris Carter, at one point, that was giving you in-depth information on what wide receivers would do, and some of the other analysts that came along during that time, but they didn't fit the drama mode that ESPN is, so they keep getting rid of them. These great analysts that were there. You know, and it's hard to watch because if you don't have content, the next thing that you can sell is drama, and
Yep.
that's all it is. So it's a whole lot of drama, and I don't do drama. I don't turn on Sports Center to watch a drama. I can watch another channel for that. So yeah, it's to me it's crazy. And then on top of that, I know we get on here, we give our takes about athletes. But what I'm
Mm-hmm.
not going to do is ever criticize somebody to the point where it can defame their character, or especially African Americans. I don't like that. I don't condone that. I think too much of that goes on. And that's what turned me off from Stephen A. Smith. It's far too many times he assassinated people's character, and it makes you point that, like, look at those people in a different light because you have such a big voice. So nah, I'm not with it. And I don't even, like I said, I don't even watch it. Yeah, it's unwatchable.
I haven't watched First Take since Molly left. I only watched for her.
When Shannon was there, hey Shannon, I don't care what nobody say
Yeah,
about Shannon Sharp. He is entertaining.
for
He's
sure. I watch his other show. I watch his podcast.
yep.
I watch I watched the show with him and Chad, and I watch
Yep.
his other show. So I
Yep.
mean, Shannon knows a lot about the game, man. To your point, he breaks down the game like what we want to hear about the game. You know what I mean? Now, when you look on ESPN, whether it's First Take or any of those other shows that they have, it's a bunch of puppets. You know what I mean? They have, it's almost like it's scripted what they need to
Yep.
talk about. You know what I mean? And they can criticize one side, but certain people are untouchable, so they can't say stuff about certain people. So
And to that point, Kobe, I want you to I want people to understand something, right? I'm gonna enlighten you right now. I'm a Cowboys fan, but I get tired of hearing about the Cowboys. For one, they don't know anything about the Cowboys. Anybody that
mhm,
knows anything about the Cowboys knows Jerry Jones hadn't been the general manager of the Dallas Cowboys in actual day-to-day operations since 2009. His
mhm,
son has taken over the day-to-day, like, contractual obligations, and then
yep,
they actually hired a black GM to run it. He's just, they call him the manager of player. His name's Will McClay, player
mhm,
personnel director. So
okay,
Jerry's old school. He ain't gonna give up certain things, right? So when certain things go on, and we either praise or we criticize the Cowboys, it's not Jerry Jones. It's his son and the player personnel director, which is Will McClay.
mhm,
Another hypocrisy, right? So the Colts, they traded for Sauce Gardner. They gave up 2 first-round picks, and everybody was like, "Man, look at the Jets getting rid of this expensive defensive player."
mhm,
Well, when the Cowboys got rid of Michael Parsons, it was hell just breaking loose. Man, the dude getting paid almost $50 million. It's the same scenario. You
mhm,
can't win in the National Football League with a $50 million defender unless that defender is like Miles Garrett
mhm,
or a TJ Watt. So you kind of have to move off them, but because we like to sensationalize the Cowboys for the good or
mhm.
bad, they criticize the move. Whether it's gonna work or not, I don't know, but it's hypocrisy, like you were saying.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And the last thing I'm gonna say about Stephen A. Smith, speaking of hypocrisy, I think he's a hypocrite because he'll go on TV and whine about what somebody allegedly is doing to him behind the scenes. Like he told Carmelo Anthony that, hey, if it was up to LeBron, he would have never got his money from ESPN. He was trying to stop his money. But ain't you the same dude that was on ESPN telling Kyrie Irving that you need to retire? And if he was the GM, he wouldn't pay him a cent. So who's trying to stop whose money? Like, we know Stephen A did this. We saw it. We heard it firsthand. And he's allegedly saying that LeBron is trying to stop his money. LeBron ain't got no control over what ESPN is doing and who they give money to. Well, I mean, what are you talking about, Stephen A? Man, shut your ass up, man, and go somewhere, man. I'm done with Stephen A, man. I can't. Like, anytime I see him on TV, I turn the channel. I'm like, I don't want to hear him.
And it was a time that Stephen A was the reason I watched ESPN for a little while, But like you said, he let the fame get to his head. He let the politics get to him, and he's a different person now, and that's tough, in Stephen A's defense a little bit, when you're not blessed with the athletic ability or the talents of the people you cover. I don't care what he says. In his mind, I think he became a little envious, because I think he wanted some of that fame. And, there used to be a honest respect that was there. And now I feels like he's bigger than the athletes that he covered.
He think he is.
Yeah, exactly, right? And so the thing is, you got to understand something. I don't care if you're a former athlete or a current athlete. The athletes around you are why we watch the game. So you have to respect the game, your opponents, and the athletes. Without that, we don't watch ESPN. There's no need to watch it. You understand what I mean? So I think that's what got to Stephen A. is just the ego, thinking he was bigger than the stars that he covered, and it's kind of sad because I don't revel in it. As an African American, seeing another African American fall, because it's gonna be 3 to 5 years. Stephen A. won't be on TV anymore, because people gonna get tired of it. The ratings go down, and then who are you now? Because you kind of messed up a lot of your relationships with these athletes. So where you gonna turn? Who gonna listen to your podcast? You're not a politician, so
Right.
where are you gonna go? So it's kind of sad, in a sense that he kind of sold his kind of dignity to be who he is right now.
Yeah. I agree. Good point, bro. Before we get out of here, I want to touch on one other topic. So former NBA player Sebastian Telfair played 10 years in the league, made over $30 million. It was just reported that he's gone full circle and he's back in the place where he started at, in the projects in Brooklyn. So he went broke and he's back living in the projects. Very sad story. I mean, especially, you play in the league 10 years, you should have your pension. You made over $30 million. Like, what's your thoughts on this story for somebody who mismanaged his money so bad, and I guess kind of even his behavior kind of forced the league to kind of push him out as well, and now you ended up in the same place that you worked so hard to get out of and make the league? Like, what's your thoughts on Sebastian's story?
So unfortunately, I think it's happening less now than it did back in the day. This isn't just a Sebastian Telfair story. This is many athletes, not even just athletes, but people in general, that don't have a good foundation. That people around you to manage your money, that give you good advice. I think far too often, I'm gonna take it on the other side. I think there are so many leeches out there that exploit young athletes' talents or young talented people, right? And then they get in these positions where they just taking from them, and then once they're done with you, and they use you up, and you can no longer be useful with your talents, that they're done, and everybody turns their back. So I think that's some of what happened to Sebastian Telfair, and it's just me. I'm not a clinical psychiatrist, but I think there's something there to where he needs to sit down with some type of uh, clinical therapist or something to figure out what happened, what's going on. Marbury had the same issues, and he spoke about it. He's with a counselor, a life coach, and it turned him around. I think that's part of Sebastian Telfair's problem. I mean, I honestly, that's not normal behavior. You know what I'm saying? To blow through $30 million. I know the economy bad and 30 million isn't what it used to be, but it's still 30 million. So it not just Sebastian Telfair, but real quick, I don't know if people saw Antonio Bryant was charged with attempted murder. That's another man or another brother that needs to get help.
Yeah,
Because obviously mentally there's something not there.
yeah. Well said, bro. I don't have anything to add to that. I think you hit the nail on the head, and I just hope that these young kids learn from the Sebastian Telfairs of the world. These kids going to college and making all this money from NIL. They living large, living their life, but I hope they see that it can be gone in the blink of an eye. So start right now while you're in school, learning how to manage your money. Start putting the right people around you to keep you accountable and responsible so that you can have a long, fruitful career. And when you finish and you hang up your high tops,
Right.
you still got some money to take care of yourself and your family.
Yeah, and like I said, it's unfortunate. I think me personally, and I know it'll never happen. But if I was commissioner for a day, or of any of those leagues, whether it's NIL or before you touch one dime of this money, you have to take a financial literacy course. If a young man is 18 years old, it should be law that we put at least 10% of his salary into some type of 401k, some type of Roth IRA, some type of something where they
Mm-hmm.
can't touch it for a certain period of time so that that doesn't happen. You understand what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
I mean, such is life, bro. I mean, unfortunately, actors, actresses, the world lives off exploitation, and that's it's just unfortunate. Sebastian Telfair is just the latest example of that happening, but it's probably somebody it's happening to right now. They take advantage of young impressionable minds. I mean, the culture's set up for it. You think about it, right? And I know I'm wearing name brand now, but growing up, the only thing we wanted to do was get a nice car, have some nice clothes, have some nice shoes. We didn't talk about I ain't meet Kobe and say, dang Kobe, you know what? Bro, I just bought a new car wash, bro. You know what I mean? Or I just invested in S&P today, or I put whatever into a Roth IRA. That's not popular in our culture. So the culture kind of does it too. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and others see that, so then they exploit that too. Think about it. The first thing somebody buy when they get on is things that depreciate. A chain, a luxury vehicle that's not an upper tier luxury vehicle that's gonna, grow in value. We haven't popularized buying land, a house.
Yeah.
You understand what I mean? So just our culture kind of, puts you in a bad predicament too. It's unfortunate. The American school system, I feel like, has failed a little bit. Being in the course that I'm in now, we have international students, and one of the
Mm-hmm.
things I'm learning from the international students is financial literacy is a part of their curriculum from the fifth grade, and it
Wow.
just grows. Like we started talking about a bank account, then we
Mm-hmm.
started talking about investments, then we started talking about what land ownership, and not just I'm gonna buy in my country. No, they learn about the value of land in other countries.
Mm.
They learn about the value of the dollar in other countries, because the end goal is to try to end up in America or to try to acquire wealth, lifelong wealth. So I think our education system has failed some of these young athletes as well too. So it's unfortunate. It's sad. I pray for them. So on so many levels, so many people have failed them.
Yeah. And it's not just the athletes. I think it's students overall. We just pushing students, through the school systems and getting them out of there, graduation time when really they're not reading at their grade level, you know, or above and stuff like that. So yeah, so some of the other countries around the world, they're actually doing it right, and their youth is growing up, you know, with a good foundation under them. But like you said, financial literacy, and then I'm always a big supporter of just having the right people around you. Just think if Allen Iverson didn't have that manager around him and put that money away that he couldn't touch until he turned 50 or so. What would have happened with Allen in terms of his financial situation? Somebody was smart enough to protect Allen from himself. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And so my boy Lee, I was talking to my boy Lee earlier, and we was talking. He was like, "Man, what you think would have happened if things would have worked out with you in Houston Rockets, and they would have signed you to a, you know, multi-million-dollar contract or whatever?" And I would say, you know, if I didn't have the right people around me, or if it wasn't somebody holding me accountable, I probably have a 30 for 30. the rise, the rise and the fall of the Cobra. That's what it would have been, because I already know, man.
It's the culture though, bro. It's the culture,
Yeah,
man, and
yeah.
that's why now when we talk to, we unk status, whatever, and you
Mm-hmm.
try to enlighten them on the other things, like, yeah, it's the car, but man, look at, I got this many acres though. You know what I'm saying? You try
Yeah,
to
yeah, yeah.
put them on real game, and at some point the culture would have done it to you, because you wouldn't have got that car just for you. You would have got it because it was a status.
Yeah,
You understand
yeah,
what I mean? You
yeah.
would have bought back then. You probably would have had some Jabos and whatever you doing. You would have had it because that's what the cultural norm is. You understand what I
Yeah,
mean? And
yeah.
so we have to kind of reverse that a little bit, because if all the athletes, all the actresses, everybody were to put their money together, we could redefine what the educational system is in America. But unfortunately,
Mhm.
we won't do it, man. We will not do it. And so I just feel very sad. But at the end of the day, reach one, teach one. Kids watching this, stay in school, protect your money. Because right now we're living in strange economic times. The dollar isn't the dollar anymore. Uh, and it's only gonna get worse. I know we don't really talk too much politics on here, but the other day, President Trump wanted to introduce a 50-year mortgage, the idea of a 15-year car loan. Uh, and I want kids to understand, like, with a 50-year mortgage, the idea was to own a home or multiple homes in America. That is the American dream, to own land, to own a home. You will never own a home with a 50-year mortgage. Never. Because the average person now has to have at least 110,000 to 120,000 to even qualify for a home loan, right? So
Mhm,
that means
mhm.
unless you just blessed out the gate with a six-figure job, it usually takes you 10 years to get to that status, most places, right?
Right.
Um, you already looking at 30 plus. So a 50-year mortgage, you 80 years old by the time this mortgage is absolved. And so these are the type of things, like you said, with financial literacy that we could be taught. Plus, on a 50-year mortgage, you may only be saving $120 versus a 30-year mortgage, and you may only be saving $240 versus a 15-year mortgage. But the numbers, the way they, plan it out, because the bank make money off of interest, and
Mhm.
they put it out there like that, and people eat it up. And a
Yeah,
15-year car loan, bro, you must be buying a Rolls Royce, because that's the only car that's gonna be worth something in 15 years.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, how you buy a Mercedes 15 years later, man, you might as well just, I don't know what you're gonna end up riding a scooter, man. Cause you ain't gonna be able to afford the maintenance. You know what I'm saying? So we need to talk about, but I mean, to a certain extent, I think it's set up for people to fail. I think the government kind of exploits ignorance. The
Yeah.
banks exploit ignorance, because
Right.
if you're dumb enough to sign those contractual agreements, man,
Yeah.
they gonna make some good interest off of you.
Right. Facts. Great point, bro. I think I'm gonna leave it right there, man. I think you couldn't have said it any better. You know what I'm saying? To all our viewers and listeners, we appreciate you tuning in once again and supporting our show. Continue to support our show each and every week. Make sure you tell your friends, family, co-workers to smash the like, hit the subscribe, and share our YouTube channel. We are the No Cap Sports Show podcast, and you know our motto: respect and honor, and salute.